just to give you a rough idea what the views are going to be like for this trip. Wow, absolutely incredible this. What a morning. Hi everyone, and welcome to the mountains of Glencoe. Now this is an area of Scotland that I don't really come to very often, but when I do, I really enjoy it. The views are really nice and there's a lot to explore, and I'm really looking forward to all the trips that I'm planning this year here, because I have a few camps here. Even though the Cairngorms at the other side of Scotland is my main focus this year, I do have 2 or 3 trips that I'm hoping to do, and this weekend, well, this is one of the trips I'm planning for this year, and I've got some really good weather for it. So I'm on a corbett called Beinn, and then tomorrow I'm hoping to go to another place in the Bridge of Orchy, or near the Bridge of Orchy, and I'm meeting up with Monty tomorrow, but tonight I'm on my own and I'm just hoping for a nice overnight camp. But yeah, it's a wee bit windy unfortunately. I probably should have went somewhere a wee bit more sheltered, maybe the Lost Valley or something like that, but yeah, I'm just going to stick with this hill now. I've got no choice but to find somewhere. But yeah, it's just a really good night and I can't wait to get my new tent up. I've got a new tent to show you tonight as well, a new 4-season tent. So I'll find somewhere flat now with hopefully a nice view over to Stob Dearg, and then I'll bring you back. But yeah, what a really good place to be, and it's great to be back out. It really is. And this is it. This is my new 4-season tent for the winter. Now first of all, what I will say is I'm not replacing the Hilleberg Soulo. I'm just going to have 2 4-season tents now, but this is a lot lighter than the Hilleberg Soulo and it's much more simple to put up as well. But it's also a fairly strong tent for what it is. There's only 2 poles and it seems to be doing well with the wind at the moment. But at some point, probably maybe next winter, or this winter coming now, towards the end of this year, I'll maybe take it out in the wind to see how it gets on. But it's a Terra Nova Southern Cross one, and yeah, it's a really good tent. I really like it, and I'm just really keen to get my first wild camp in it tonight, and yeah, just see how I get on. Just getting a wee break from the wind and getting away from my tent for a little bit. Well, check out the views behind me of Ben Nevis, Stob Dearg and all the Munros there. Absolutely stunning. I just hope the camera does it justice, because it's always hard to sometimes show the views from a distance with a GoPro, to be honest. But arguably the best view from up here is over to Stob Dearg, but it's just too windy to enjoy the views over there, to be honest. As I said, I'm getting a bit of a break from the wind. There's also 2 photographers down there getting a view of the sunset, which is just happening over there in that direction. Absolutely stunning sunset, and they're just in front of my tent right now. But yeah, it's just a great night to be out. It's clear everywhere. It's not just here, but even in the distance, it really is. It's fantastic. It really is. Yeah, just a great night for it. And once you're out the wind, it's really warm as well. It's quite pleasant. You know, I'm sitting down and I don't feel cold at all. So, looks like I've done really well, considering I was in quite a bad mood trying to deal with that wind earlier. But now that the tent's up and I've found a reasonably flat bit, and I'm only about an hour from the car, yeah, I'm in a good mood now. So, yeah, just time to enjoy the night. Well guys, it's just gone 8 AM now, and surprise surprise, as soon as it gets dark it starts to get really windy. Now I reckon the wind speed's probably about 30 mile an hour, gusting about maybe 45-50 at the moment. It seems to have died down a little bit, but the thing about camping on the hills is you can hear the wind coming to you. Sometimes it blows over your tent, but other times it smacks the tent and it really makes it move. But this is actually turning into more of a camping and wind video, and it wasn't planned. I thought it was going to be quite calm tonight. The weather forecast was looking really good, but the wind has decided to come and ruin it, unfortunately. Thankfully I've got earplugs, so should be okay tonight, but we'll see how this tent gets on tonight. When you're camping on the hills at this time of the year, the weather can just change, and sometimes it just doesn't matter what the forecast is. Hopefully this is just a spell of wind. I don't really want this all night. Alright folks, so it's nearly 9 o'clock now, and I'll probably call it a night in the next hour, but I'm going to get a quick bite to eat now, using my jet boil, and I'm going to have one of those expedition foods you can see just behind the jet boil now. I'll probably go for the beef and potato hot pot, as I've never tried it before, so it'll be good to try something different. And then my other option would have been the chicken korma with rice. Now these only weigh about 80 grams each, so it's worth taking a couple of packs. You might be hungry again, but usually I get to about 9 o'clock and I just eat one of them. So let's get on with it, if I can remember how to do this. Yeah. Well, don't want to leave this on too long. Well, that expedition meal was pretty decent, to be fair. I seem to really enjoy the summit to eat and expedition meals the most, and those expedition foods are really good because just how light they are. Yet you do get quite a lot in the pack, which is always ideal. Now I'm going to wrap the video up for this evening because it's after 9 o'clock, and because of the wind that's going on, it has calmed down a little bit. I'm not going to go back outside the tent unless I really need to. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the evening. There's the wind picking up again. It's a good test for the tent. I better say actually before I wrap it up, I think I recorded 41 miles per hour was the maximum wind speed I got. So it's actually not too, it's quite windy, but it's not as bad as I initially thought it might have been. The wind always seems worse inside the tent than what it actually is. And whilst I was outside, I had to look to see how the tent was coping. It seems to be doing okay, and I've checked all the pegs as well. So anyway guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed the evening once again, and I'll see you first light tomorrow. Well, I knew the morning views would be worth it this morning, and yeah, just to confirm that, the views this morning are definitely worth the night in the tent when it was a wee bit windy and noisy. But despite the wind, it was probably one of the best nights I've ever had in the tent. It was a decent bit of ground, it was fairly flat, and it was very, very warm. And yeah, once the sun comes up over the hill that I'm camping on, I'm sure it'll heat up anyway. But this view is just absolutely amazing. Very, very impressive, like. And I can understand why a lot of people think this is one of the best wild camping spots in Scotland. And here is another amazing view for this morning. The sun's starting to rise and it's starting to hit the hills now, just across. I knew that the sun wouldn't get to me because the hill would be blocking it. But I tell you what, I've done 2 camps up here. One on the summit with a guy called Sean, who's actually camped with Andrew Park. And of course I've just done this camp here. And this camp down here, in terms of the views that I've had, are much better than what I got on the summit, to be honest with you. What an amazing place, and I'm only about an hour's walk from the car. I can actually hear the traffic right now. You might too, to be fair, if the microphone's picking it up. But what a place, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm really glad that I've made the effort to get the tent up, because I was really seriously considering just going back to the car because of how boggy the ground was. But yeah, what a place. What a place, like. Can't stop looking at the views. Well, I'll tell you what, you don't get views like that every morning. What a really good way to watch the sunrise, just coming off the hills there. And yeah, it's a really, really good morning so far. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at maybe talking about this tent now that the wind's calmed down and it's brightened up a bit. And yeah, at the same time I'll pack away as well, because I now need to think about my next camp, which is near the Bridge of Orchy, which isn't far from here, but I've still got probably an hour to get back down to the car, and then I've got to charge everything up. So yeah, it's about 6:30 now, I think, roughly, maybe even 7, I've not even checked, but it'll be about there anyway. So as long as I'm packed away and leaving the hill for about 8:30, I'll be happy. But yeah, time to get inside the tent, and yeah, let's talk about it. Well folks, it's time to talk about this tent then. The Terra Nova Southern Cross 1 4-season tent. Cost roughly £600. I got it for 420 last year, at the end of last year. And well, it's took me long enough to get it out, but here it is. So the first thing I will talk about is the fly sheet and just how strong it looks. And I'll tell you what, it was bossing that wind really well yesterday. What I like about it is straight away that is solid, very, very strong. I wasn't very sure about this pole, especially when you get near the top here, how it would deal with the wind. But I was watching it last night and it looked really, really solid. And I mean, that's where your ventilation is here, and I didn't really feel any drafts as well, which was quite good. Yet there's not much condensation this morning. Very, very good. Very, very impressed with it. But yeah, I'm really, really liking the fly sheet and the actual structure of the tent. It's very, very nice and very, very solid, which is what you need for a 4-season tent. Alright folks, so let's talk about the access into this tent now. So the structure of the tent's pretty good. Is the access into the tent? Yeah, how good is it? So first things first, you've got a really good storm flap here, which covers us up really well. and it's also got Velcro on it. Now this is a double zip tent, which means you can zip it from the top down, and that gives you ventilation for when you're cooking. It's always good when a tent comes with a double zip, and the zips do jam a little bit, but yeah, you can get by. And then of course if you unzip it from the bottom, that's you getting access into the tent. So how much space is there? Well, that answers your question. There's plenty of room here to get inside. It's a good vestibule as well, and well, here's the inner right here. Now as I've mentioned, to tie this door back or to get out the way, you've got to clip these onto the post. There's two of them, and when it's windy, unfortunately the door, yeah, it flaps about, which is a wee bit disappointing to be honest. But apart from that, the entrance into this tent's not too bad. So what I'll do is I'll start packing away, and then once I get everything packed away, I'll show you inside the tent. Alright folks, so that's me sitting up inside the inner. Now, straight away, headroom's okay for me. I'm not the tallest to be fair, but I did say this tent is fairly narrow. You can actually see just how narrow it is with me sitting inside it. Now, it does sag a wee bit, the inner. As I mentioned, it was really sagging when I first put the tent up, but I did have to tighten it up a wee bit. So it's worth mentioning that just keep an eye on the corners of the inner, because you might just need to tighten it up if it's really sagging. But even now it's still kind of flappy a wee bit, which to be honest with you is not the best considering the price of the tent, but you know, I can get by with it because of my height. But if you were probably over 6 foot, you'd probably struggle with this tent. It's worth mentioning that straight away. So the actual material of the inner is mainly solid. You've got this mesh panel here which you can't close, which is a bit annoying to be honest. And it's a very big mesh panel actually, but I didn't get any condensation inside here. There's a wee bit of condensation on the fly sheet, but yeah, I would just like the opportunity or the option to be able to kind of close the mesh over a wee bit. A bit like the Hilleberg Soulo for example, where you can kind of have the mesh shut a wee bit. But yeah, it's okay, it's not bad. You've got 2 pockets down here. They're very deep pockets and they're very wide pockets. You can get plenty of stuff inside them, and you've got ventilation at either side. So yeah, it's an okay tent. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not going to go in too much detail about it. I don't know everything about it yet, but yeah, I had a very pleasant night inside it, and I'm looking forward to my next camp in it, that's for sure. But that's my first impressions of the inner, and like I said, can't wait to use it again. It's a very good tent, that's for sure. Well folks, another camping trip done, and it's always a good feeling when you get all your gear packed away and you can just start enjoying the views again, because it's a really nice morning. But yeah, what a really good camp that's been, and I always enjoy trying out a new tent for the first time, and I'll definitely be using that tent again But it's time to get back down the hill now, so let's get cracked on and let's enjoy these views until I get back to the busy road again. Well folks, not far to go now until I'm back at the road, probably about 10 minutes or so, and I'm just making the most of the views still. They're still really nice down here, and I'm out of that sun. As soon as I got into the sun I was roasting walking back down, so it is nice to be in the shade, and I'll probably spend about 5 or 10 minutes just standing here watching the views before I head back down. But it's time to wrap up the video here. So as always guys, I hope you've enjoyed this camping trip. You might want to consider clicking on the like button if you have, and if you're new around here you might even want to consider subscribing. It's very much appreciated. But until the next trip, take care.